Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. It's my own, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Well, hello there, good people. Hello. Welcome to season 5 of the real journey of entrepreneurship. Can you believe it? I can't. Even though I've been in business now going into my 10th year, September of 2025 will be year 10. Also, a couple of milestones. I'll be entering in what I call the grown zone. I'll be 50 this year, y'all. You believe that? God's blessing on my life continuously and all these other things that happen within entrepreneurship. I got to tell you, if y'all know I'm into the 50s, going into the 50s, y'all know it's that funny stage, the pre-menopause, all of that. That's the reason the hair is short. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened, a lot of good things happening. But welcome to another episode, friends and family, of the real journey of entrepreneurship. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am the founder and CEO of 11375. We are a business consultancy that is dedicated to helping and forging powerful relationships with other small businesses, enterprises, and helping them to really connect to business resources. I consider myself really, really good at what I do. And I'm not just saying that. It's not a story. I'm very intentional about supporting other businesses and helping them to really understand certain processes. You know, our business 11375 happens to be a minority and women business enterprise where we also provide strategy and strategic focus if you want to do business with the government. And yes, in New York State, government is still active. You know, there are some changes, but there's still business to be had and to be gained within the state of New York. And so we really focus in on, those aspects of integrity, ensuring that we are achieving and supporting business owners at all levels. So if you're interested in working with us, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We're on all the social platforms at 11375. And so I have the best seat in the house. I'm going to explain why. Because I have the opportunity to interview very dedicated and courageous individuals who are currently pursuing their dreams through entrepreneurship. And I also can tell you that as a mother, my next guest is going to share some of her story, just a real story about what it really means to be an entrepreneur and a mom, right? Both not for the faint of heart. So I'm going to repeat that. If you are a parent, especially these days, parenting is not for the weak. And also, as you are consistently pursuing and believing in your dreams, it's also not for the weak. But my next guest, I'm telling you, when you listen to Juju's story, you are going to be so inspired and know that if you are a parent, happen to be a mom of two, that you too can fulfill your dreams. So come on to the stage, Juju. Hey,
Mhm.
Juju.
Hey, Miss Anita.
How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Juju, tell us a little bit about who you are, what
Mhm.
you do, and how are you engaged in building your dreams?
Whew, that's a lot right there. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, as Miss Anita said, my name is Juju. Um, my given name is Hyunjoo, but I've been Juju for a long time and will continue to be. I
Mhm.
am a proud mother of two beautiful boys, and I feel that everything I do these days is through the lens of motherhood, and that includes the business that I created 2 years ago, Mommy Money Goals. So it's a business coaching service. I lean into my years of being in the fashion industry, where I have expertise in supply chain management to branding and marketing, to almost every aspect of a business life cycle. But going back a little bit, um, yeah, I was probably that dragon lady, that one that you feared when I was working in the industry. You did not want to cross me. You probably didn't want to come into work most days because you were reporting into me. I was ruthless. I
Ooh.
was so hard on everyone because I was hardest on myself. I
Mm,
demanded so much of myself. I said, I traveled quarterly to Asia, and when I was there, I was available 24/7 because now I'm on two sides of the earth, reporting into a New York office, but working real time with Asian factories and vendors. So this kind of pace I thought was par. Everyone should work like this. And the minute I became pregnant 10 years ago, everything shifted in me almost immediately. I mean, it was really like a switch went off that day when I found out I was pregnant. Everything changed, the priorities, the where I was putting all of these energies. I was putting so much into a career that honestly didn't give that much back. I thought it did. But once I became a mom, I realized there was so much more. There's so many things bigger than me. And the pursuit of whatever markers of achievement, whether it's financial or if it's whatever it is, it's not as important as the idea of being safe, being heard, being loved, being kind. But in a practical way, though, we still need to eat, right? We still
right.
need to survive. We need to have um, needs taken care of. So, how do you do that? Through the lens of motherhood, through the lens of being empathetic, being slower paced, maybe. How do you do that? Well, finally, in 2 years ago, so 2023, I launched my business. A lot of that was to provide the services that I had accrued, the knowledge that I accrued into a service based business for other moms. I wanted to share my well of knowledge, my wealth of knowledge with anybody and everybody who needed it. Um, I had a partner and who didn't value me as a mom, as a woman. And now, fast forward, I have two children now. And in 2023, when I launched the business, I realized not only did I want to give women um, information and build a community for women who was similar or could was in a similar space than I am, juggling multiple titles, but also create a model of healthy financial awareness and financial gain and financial literacy for my sons who are not getting them from, frankly speaking, from their father who monetize everything. If a person cannot make money for them, they were not considered a friend. And
Mm,
there's no way that I wanted this lesson to be a part of my son's lexicon. I did not want them monetizing moments. I did not want them monetizing experience. Money and financial gain and wealth and accrual of wealth is important, but it needs to be through a healthy lens. It shouldn't be that money is the end goal. how we attain that money is much more important than the money itself. So now in 2025, I have this business that's just out of the startup phase, but not monetizing. I will say that I'm not super profitable, but guess what? I take care of my sons. I can take care of all of their basic needs plus more because I shifted in my mind what I value and what's important to me. So, time, experience, being there for my children takes precedent over any kind of monetary gain at the moment. And my motto is passion turns to profits, right? So this is now a space that I'm in that I love doing. I love meeting women. I love networking. This journey led me to you, Miss Pierce, where I'm able to meet such a wonderful woman who is has a huge wealth of knowledge. I find so much alignment with. I wouldn't have met you if I hadn't started an entrepreneurial journey, and I wouldn't have met you if we weren't aligned in the way we think that financial health is more important than just financial gains. And so I hope that this business I create can reach enough women, can have enough of a ripple effect to teach us to be happier in the space we're in, to be happier with smaller gains and not be so pressured and stressed to to make a financial marker our goal, because that is a goalpost that's always moving, right? You know that just as well as I do. um, if my goal is to earn 10,000 this quarter, next quarter I'm going to increase it to 20 because I'm going to say if I made 10 I can make 20. Now, is that the stress in attaining that goal worth it? What did you have to do to increase and to scale like that? What are you willing to compromise in your life? So these are some of the lessons woven through practical services that I provide, that help my clients say, hey, we have these goals, but let's make them realistic and let's make them important to me and my family and what works in juggling the different titles that we have.
Whew. I don't even know where to begin, Juju, because you unpacked a whole your
Mm,
story, and this is why the real journey of entrepreneurship is not always what we see promoted on social media, and I emphasize that oftentimes because as business owners, when we're just starting, doesn't matter the level, whether you're just starting, you have an idea, there's always this pressure that we need to mirror our gifts against someone else that's on the social platform. And I have to tell you, excuse me, I have to tell you that you talked about a couple of things. Most people will be embarrassed to say, right now I'm not making the type of money that maybe I made when I worked in a corporate job, but your priorities are your family, right? Caring for yourself, your overall mental health and well-being, right? Because if we're not healthy, if we're not good, we really can't do what we're supposed to be doing to other folks. I want to say
right.
that boldly with my chest. Like I just it's not anything wrong with designing and creating the life based upon a purpose that you have been given, right? And not being afraid to work within that space, right?
Mhm,
So I want to salute you for saying that. First of all, salute to you for one, being in business, right? Making a decision to figure out, right? That's a deep breath.
mhm.
Woosah on that, because again, as I mentioned in my opening, it is not for the faint of heart. Like, it's a consistency of building, trusting, trying, networking, this and that in order to make this thing work. But I want to circle it back because I think you all know that I have an amazing 10-year-old who is the real CEO of 11375, right? That's what she tells me.
Mhm,
She
mhm.
micromanages me when she's home. And the shift of prioritization, I still get work done,
Mhm.
I have now a team I didn't have when I first began. And so some of the things that you mentioned about, how are you able to access clients and business and not compromise, right?
Mhm.
Some of the things that are really important to you. But I'm also going to share with you that I do fail a lot, right? A lot. Sometimes certain parts of my home is not as tidy as I need it to be, but I don't let that get, to the point where it's like crazy.
Mhm.
But I have to tell you that in those times, I have to learn to lean in and to trust people to help me with my process. So you
Yes.
said a lot, but I wanted to just kind of summarize what I heard because I was so excited to know that you are a mom,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You have two. I have one, and she's like
Mhm.
five kids, right?
God gives us all that we can handle, Miss Pierce.
I know. And so I have to tell you that that in itself is courageous. But I want to I
Mhm.
want to unpack mommy money goals, right?
Yes.
So on your journey, you talked about, and I'm going to present for those who are watching video, I'm going to share Juju's website, and it's mommymoneygoals.com for
Yes.
those who are. And so within your coaching practice,
Mhm.
tell us a little bit more about some of the opportunities in which we can work with Juju and Mommy Money Goals.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much. So as that banner is rolling through, my first consultation with you is always free because I don't want to ever for you to ever think, for a client to ever think that this is a money grab because my whole model is all about good money, right? As you mentioned, I did take, and I admitted, I took a huge financial cut in being an entrepreneur. But to me, the having done that is so much more worth it. I could be making the kind of money I was making before and never be present for my children, never be available for a single meeting, a single recital, a single class trip. And that's not the life that I want to live.
Mm,
So I took that huge cut and left it behind me. It doesn't mean anything to me because everything is taken care of and we live in a space that we feel fulfilled. I do that. I impart that on my kids every day. That being rich in love is more important than anything else. So, having said that, I want to make sure that any new client who reaches out to me knows that that first meeting with me is always complimentary. I want to have time to understand where you are, not just in your business needs, but as a person as well, because that's so intrinsically connected, right? We as moms, um, that is why my business called Mommy Money Goals because it's different than a single woman goal
mm,
or a somebody else.
yep.
We as moms have different goals with what our money means to me, and we have different purposes for money. A lot of it is wealth creation. A lot of it is generational instead of something that's just for myself. So after that first consultation, which is usually comprehensive, I do have a whole onboarding form that needs to be filled out. It gives me time to do it. So the first meeting is always a few days out for me because I need that time to be able to really do a little bit of research, understand what the answers you provided. And in that first meeting, we kind of introduce ourselves to each other and map out where you are and where you would like to be, and just draw a very general arc in what that looks like. And then after that, I can offer hourly services or I have monthly plans. I do one off topics like credit counseling, debt management, household budgeting. Or we can do a whole business, a whole full service kind of model where we really deep dive into your business, find out where you are and what are your biggest pain points and how can I help you overcome those hurdles. Like I said, my background is pretty extensive in the business life cycle. So I have experience with just about anything pertaining specifically to garments because I was in the fashion industry. So I do find myself connecting a lot with people who are creative. And I think that's just a synergy I feel with them. Having been in that industry so long. So I have clients in the fashion design space or styling space, a lot in beauty and grooming. But then I have other clients who are in an athletic space or educational space. So it obviously can vary. And, I have experienced enough where it's applicable to a whole host of industries. So after that consultation, that's really the keystone in where we go from there. Is this something that can be kind of looked at with a couple of sessions, or is this something that we need to, it's better if we stay connected for a few months at a time because there's really something that needs to be solved that's on a longer term kind of path instead of a quick answer. So there's multiple ways that we can connect. I'm always very flexible on time, as we were talking about. Um, Constantly time management. That's also something I offer too. I'm also not the best at it. Trust me. I think we're all trying to figure that out. How are we in six different places at one time? Um, and there's no partner. I don't have a partner. It's just me. So I have two boys with the business, which is another child with
Right.
everything else, all these children that we have that we're tending to, all these flowers that we're trying to grow and to take care of. How do we do that? A lot of things are done very compactly within a short amount of time from drop off to pick up. My sons are now in a charter school, which as opposed to DOE gives me one extra hour, which actually helps a lot. Their dismissal is 3:40. So I feel like, whoo, I have an extra hour to do things and to get stuff done. But you see a bulk of my appointments are done between 10 and 2:30. And I just make sure that calendar's packed. Then when after pickup, it's our time, downtime, dinner, bath, catch up on the day, all that good stuff. And then I find myself doing not too much, but a little bit of work after hours. I will do some 9 p.m. Consultations um, every now and then, just because that's just the slot. That's just the time we have available. Besides the business that I am nurturing and my kids, I'm also this year's PTSO co-president, and I'm also volunteering with a not-for-profit for childcare advocacy. So there's all these different needs and things that I'm trying to take care of, and I don't want any of them being neglected. But at the same time, like we talk about, we have to keep eyes on ourselves because if mommy's not well, nobody's well. So we have to make sure we stay healthy mentally, physically, all that good stuff. Yeah, so
That,
that's
that is, you know, um, when I think about, the layers, there are so many layers of being in this space, right? So as a mom, and I'm not negating fathers. I want to be very clear about
very
the
clear.
next statement, right?
Mhm,
Because
mhm,
we are we are always mothers. Like it is never really an option for mothers to check out.
mhm.
It doesn't seem theoretically responsible, right?
Right,
To check out, right? And what
right,
I mean by check out is like, you know, uh, pursuit of, higher goals and aspirations. And I'm gonna again clear up my statement to say that that doesn't mean that as mothers we're not motivated, we're not challenged, but society looks and frowns upon mothers who want to have a full life, right? They want to have goals. we want to have goals. We want to have and execute on our visions and dreams, and also still be pretty dope and amazing mothers who may go fast food once or twice a week because we don't feel like cooking. I
Hey.
mean, and so I want to put that out there because this space that we are unpacking, it requires extensive support systems, right? So similar to Juju, I do a lot of community advocacy engagement, right? And my time is so important
Hmm.
that I make sure that the things and the spaces where I show up is with intention, right? There is a full circle that, if I'm doing if I'm doing community work, what does that look like? Who am I specifically impacting, right? Am I going to parties? Probably not. Probably not. It's not like I don't, my friends know I do a good two step, right? Now, but that's not where I am
Mhm.
in this present time, right?
Mhm.
I have, intentional meetings, uh, going in spaces for networking, right? And that's going to be my next follow up question because
Okay.
moms network different, right?
Mm. Mm. Mhm.
Look,
Yeah.
we network differently. So, Juju, can you share like what are some of the ways that you network? And before you get into that, let's do a little bit of a definition because I am a coach and I do like to provide working definition. So let's do
Mhm.
this. Business networking, aka what I call relationship building, entails maintaining professional relationships to create mutually beneficial opportunities. And I'm saying that very loudly, mutually beneficial opportunities, sharing insights and increasing industry knowledge. So that's my working definition. I'm
Mhm.
putting it up there because that is the realm where I always lend. I always like to share first, always like to provide resources. I don't care if the person never gives it back, right? That's
Mm.
just my when you come and listen, I know how to set boundaries too. I want to be real clear about that. But
Okay.
I'm always in how can I be supportive? Is there mutually something beneficial that we can do, whether it's you joining on a podcast or I share a resource or making a connection? What is the mutual beneficial thing that we can do as business owners in networking? So on to you, Juju. You tell me what you feel about
Yeah, I mean, I think networking is something that we kind of do instinctively. It's not even something I seek to do all the time. I myself am somebody who has very low fear, let's say, of approaching someone. So as soon as we're in a space where I feel you're comfortable, I will approach you and I will start the conversation and just in talking, a lot of times you find moms, whether it's on the playground or if it's in school activity, we find, oh, this is one life we have in being a mom, but I also do this. Oh, you do that? You do marketing? Why don't, that's amazing. Um, we can align on that. That's something that I think um, isn't unique to moms. The fact that we can network, in a grocery store.
that? Right.
There's so much that we can do, and sometimes it's leading in with our kids because our kids have alignment with someone else's child, and then we can start the conversation that way. But in a more purely professional sense, it is about finding that community that speaks to you. So it's about finding like-minded community. I've been very lucky that early on, I was able to connect with some wonderful, wonderful women who share, many of my beliefs, whether it's personal or business wise. And that in turn has led me the opportunity to meet so many more women. So being connected with your SBA is always a good choice.
Mm.
Local city of commerce, local politicians is also a great way to network. I am friendly with my council members, assembly members, people who have insight into some opportunities in the neighborhood. If you are a not-for-profit business, that's an excellent way to get connected, is to become part of a district board or to become part of a community board. And this way you can have eyes on where some funding is coming from, where the temperature of what is important is happening, and how you can get involved in that way. But like you, I'm really not partying anymore. Like, I'm not on that dance floor. I'm not doing that kind of partying.
It's
But
club home for me. It's club home. Club, club home. Well, some good karaoke. Club home.
Yeah, I mean, find me a couch anywhere. I'm good. Like, we can lounge all day long. That's what I need. I'm not standing anywhere for too long. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely, you have to be you have to be comfortable in yourself, and have enough confidence to approach other people. You really do. Not everything is going to come to you. You have to be able to be to receive. You have to be open to receive blessings, whether that is in meeting somebody or a particular opportunity that comes along. um, and be confident enough to really speak up and say what you're strong with. Where are your assets? What can you bring to the table? Don't ever be shy about that. All of us are an expert in something. We may need to dive into what that expertise is, but we all are. We all can speak about something. And that's also something I've consulted with clients, is creating those multiple revenue streams, the side
Mhm.
hustles, the other businesses. How do we turn passion into profits? Yes, during the day you're an accountant, but you love to knit. Let's
Mhm.
figure out how that knitting business can become something. How can we scale that business? What can you offer out, and what platforms? If you need help setting up an Etsy account, if you need help with SEO, I'm not saying I'm an SEO expert, but I have people who do SEO, so I can connect them. I really find a lot of times I'm a bridge, and I love that. I love connecting people with the amount of people that I know. I can, I know right away somebody who can help you with XYZ need. But that constantly meeting people, constantly being open to meeting people, I think is so important. And that's also just something in life, to receive blessings, we need to give blessings, right? Because a full cup cannot receive anymore. So we need to always share ourselves and be willing to share ourselves with other people.
Yes, I could not agree with you more. So you mentioned that if your cup is full, how are you going to get more blessings, right? You got to share some of the blessings to others, right?
Mhm.
And I want to lean in on that comment just a little bit, Juju, just a little bit,
Yes.
because you know we are nurturers by human nature, right?
Yes.
This is Anita, right?
Mm.
Um, and my growth or my experiences have taught me to lead also with openness
Mhm.
and also lead with discernment.
Mm.
And so what I mean by that, right? So there's a internal vetting process or internal thing that we have specifically as women, right? We have
Mhm.
this internal intuition, a language that has been embedded into us, right?
Yes.
That sends us signals that I've come to learn and believe in and now rely upon um, as my barrier of protection.
Mm.
Because not that I'm like all that, but I know that I am gifted
Mm.
with something to share with others.
Yes.
And the intended recipient will receive it and move forward with it.
Mhm.
I believe honestly that when folks get in connection with me somehow,
Mhm.
that some way, that it becomes a life changing experience. And again,
Mm.
I'm not going, oh, I think so highly of myself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
Right.
gifted at certain things. And so this whole idea that Juju was mentioning was about finding a like-minded community, right? You'll know based upon, you know, something ain't right about this person. Something
Mm,
isn't right about this business. And sometimes we lean in that because we're thinking, oh, we want to just be mindful about who your community is, right? I watch and I like and I follow this this businessman's named John Hope Bryant. He runs Operation Hope. He has many other businesses, right?
mhm,
And there was something that came on my timeline about I don't know which show he was on, but he talked about you're pretty much your circle. If you hang around nine broke people, you're gonna be the 10th one. So what I mean by things like that, and just following along with that thought process is when you mention a like-minded community, right? That community helps to uplift you, challenges you in the right way, not girl, on the social platforms throwing hate game. That's not what your like-minded community is, right? There are people who are within my tribe who are single entrepreneurs that I'm like leaning into because they're doing things that I want to get into, right?
mhm,
There are also moms and dads that are business owners that I pull from, but I also am sharing as well because I know that their moms, their dads, and they're in this space. Some may have, jobs, but they're also looking to live out this entrepreneurial dream, right? Which they know that I'm in full time. So they lean in on that space for me for advice. So you mentioned like-minded communities, being connected to your elected officials. I'm actually going to put that up because it's typing. So some tips, right?
mhm,
Find a like-minded community, tap into your local elected officials, community boards. I remember when I sat on a community board with my little person, we walking
mhm.
in there, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm here. But throughout that discovery, 11375 event management was born, right? So I'm telling you, like what Juju mentioned, this was not planned, right? It's almost like she told my story without, you know, me telling it. Joining, being connected and engaged within your schools and confidence, right? Because if you don't believe in yourself, ain't nobody gonna believe in you.
Nobody.
Not one person. Not even your kids, even though they love you. They ain't do it. Our kids these days, and it ain't for the weak. I'm telling you,
And our kids will tell us about ourselves.
yep. This is not the what is it? How are we taught?
Kids
Seen
are to
and
be
not heard.
seen and not heard.
No,
Yes. Oh,
these kids,
no.
we not raising those type of leaders. Nope.
No.
They
They
are
will be seen and heard
and heard.
and celebrated and all of that.
Yep.
So, I have 2 boys, and
Mm,
I feel really that being a boy mom means
mm,
that I need to, give them all the tools so they are not like a lot of the men that we know these days.
mm,
They will be self-sufficient, they will be understanding, they will be, um, a lot their well of empathy would be much wider than men have allowed themselves to be, or we have allowed our men to be in the
mm,
past. But bottom line, I don't want to hand off my boys to whoever they are with later as a life partner and have somebody complain to me that I didn't do my part in raising them right. That, oh, so he doesn't get up to do anything, or he doesn't know how to do this. Oh, no, both my boys are going to know how to do everything A to Z in their life. They will not rely on somebody because they just are either lazy or they don't know. They will always come from a place of knowing, and they will always come from a place of doing it for themselves versus letting somebody else do it. So I think all boy moms have a special charge, feel a special charge in this to change what it means to be a man, to be a strong man, to be that provider. Um, because frankly, the hierarchy, of gender-based, roles needs to shift, needs to change, and that can only change from not just women like us stepping up into these roles and being vocal and being advocates, but also men supporting us and saying, we understand your importance, your role. Yesterday I just posted that on March 25th was Equal Pay Day. So this is how long it took into the year for a woman to earn what a man earned last year. So we are still being underpaid. We are still not being recognized. A day's work for a woman is not the same as a day's work for a man. So how do we change that thought? We have to change the boys we're grooming to be men, and we have to, as women, gain that confidence within ourselves to say we can no longer live with just sweat equity. We can no longer live with just the way that we have before. We need to be duly recognized and duly rewarded for the work that we put in. I briefly mentioned I had a partner who didn't appreciate me, who, because for a little while I was a stay-at-home mom and was not earning a paycheck per se. Little did he know that I was saving him 150,000 a year with the number of jobs that I did and with the competency in which I performed those jobs, because the same mindset I had to my career, I now applied to my children. So I am going to find cost savings. I am going to find time management. I am going to give them the best experience possible, because those are all the business mindset I had with my career. Then was shifted to my children, and now it's divided with my own business and my kids still. So this is why Mommy Money Goals maybe can fill in the gap with needs that moms specifically have, and trying to find that balance and how to find the right compromises. Not saying that we always compromise or we have to, but there are compromises that we need to make. So what are some of those that we need to make, but with the greater goal in mind?
I'm just because yeah, I'm just gonna lean in a bit because
Yes.
you mentioned a number of things that about
Mm.
those who choose to be stay-at-home mom,
Yes.
right? Or
Yes.
stay-at-home parents. And in this instance, we're elevating moms, right?
Yes. Yes.
That the unspoken labor of managing household,
Mhm.
managing, schedules, doctor's appointments, when children get sick,
Yes.
sometimes holding that within your brain
Mm.
becomes so overwhelming, right? And this is why having a tribe that
Mm.
you trust with your children. So I don't trust
Mhm.
everybody with my baby. I keep it. I'm very
Right.
clear about that, right?
Right.
Some folks may go, oh, why? I just, my childhood trauma, she's healing me, is
Mm.
getting better, but I
Mm.
don't leave her with just anyone, right?
No.
There's a very small selected few that knows her allergies, that knows her habits, that knows her
Yes.
behaviors.
Yes.
She's very joyful,
Mhm.
right? She has a very robust laughter, like, so there's certain things, and even within the school, I'm like, don't try to muffle her. Like that
Mm.
don't work here because her mom is a warrior mom and has zero. Let me keep it clean. But when it comes to my baby, it's we're not, I don't there's no gray line. There's
No.
only black and white when it comes to my kid.
No.
So I'm saying all of that because there is an unspoken labor, right? You're in business, but you just so happen to also be a stay-at-home mom, right?
Mm. Mm.
Or in certain instances, you may have a partner that doesn't quite get what it is that you're doing. Or in your instance, you're there, you're doing it by yourself, right? So there's a lot of unspoken rules, but I so appreciate it. I'm getting all choked up. How you called yourself to the challenge
Mm.
and saying that I have two boys, right? my responsibility, right? Because when you're taking on parenthood, it
Mhm.
is, I'm gonna say it again, it's not for the not for the weak. It's a blessing, but it's whew. But you are challenging yourself to raise capable humans within this space that
Yes.
you do not want to be a part of what is known as the continuation of generational situations
Right.
because you are a mom of two beautiful boys.
Yes.
So I so appreciate that because that is a level of accountability, that you are choosing. You can choose to, have them just chill and not be self-sufficient and not know
Mhm.
how to do the basic things, right? Or keep them like, but you're being very intentional and putting that in the universe and saying, nope, not here.
Not
You
here.
you ain't gonna come blame me about, socks on the floor or
None of that.
something like that.
None of
Same thing with girls as well. There's a lot they are watching us.
Mhm.
So all children are learning firsthand from what they see their parents do
Yes.
and also what we think they don't see, they're still watching us. So I want to salute you because that was so elevating to me
Thank
because you know in times when things are so out of control, it's
you.
the level of accountability as parents, even though we're tired, even the checkbox and we're doing all this stuff, you got to figure out who are we leaving in this space, the next generation, which is our legacy, partly through our children. So thank
Yes.
you for that.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. Um, I can only imagine your daughter's smile. I'm listening to the laugh right now. You say
It's big, it's bold, it's bold. And like I said, I'm directly and almost getting to the age of 50. It is bold. Like I'll be like, oh, I'm like, you better not tell her. It
Don't
is
worry about it,
it's
Miss Anita.
so it is so like when you hear the laughter, you
Mhm.
can't help but to join in her laughter because how she laughs is so funny to me. Like she laughs from her gut. And
Oh,
you're like, well, what is so funny? You go and
I
you come and you look and you just laugh at her laugh, not what really she's laughing at because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't
right.
register to me. So you just join in the laughter and just move on with life. So
But that's why we're parents. I mean,
mm,
look at that joy, the true joy these kids possess and how we can take a lesson from them to understand, take time out,
mm,
be in the moment,
mm,
be present.
mm,
Don't always worry about what's next. Don't worry if things don't fall into place either. My kids have been sick the past few days, so that means every calendar I had to be rearranged, and
mhm,
so it had to be rearranged. There's nothing that takes precedent over them. But having said that, there are ways now with technology, thank goodness, with, the rapid speed of communication that we can edit our meeting schedules. We can edit things. We can change things around. 10, 15 years ago, this would have been impossible without the virtual meeting, without this kind of platform, how we can connect.
right.
Um, so that helps business as well. Obviously, it's an incredible tool that we have at our disposal. But a lot of what we do as moms, as parents, is just old school, elbow grease. Just roll up the sleeves and just do it. We got to do it. We have to be here for our kids. And we're modeling this behavior for them. You and I are setting these incredible pathways to them to show them what it looks like to be an entrepreneur, to make every decision yourself, to understand that we are responsible for every misstep, but we also have so many moments that we celebrate and so many moments of joy. Um, and I don't take any of those milestones for granted. The littlest one doesn't matter. If I
Mm,
hit that, if I make that, it's a reason to celebrate. And that wasn't Juju 10 years ago.
mm,
Juju 10 years ago was, oh no, if you don't hit this and this and this and this, none of all of that matter if you don't do this at the end. And now I'm taking the time to really put stock into the journey and to also say that that journey can change on a moment's notice. And that's okay too. That's okay too. Um, but it's about finding that within our clients, right? What is their biggest need? Is
mm.
it really that they have this target sales goal in mind? Or is it about being in more stores? Or is it about, whatever those are, still frame it around, well, you can do that. You don't need to do that in one quarter. Let's
Right.
take our time. Let's pace ourselves. Let's figure out in a year's time, what does that plan look like? In 5 years' time, what does that plan look like? Um, and is there something, is a different pathway to that? I'm really somebody who likes to look at the big picture. I'm a big picture person. I always have been. So um, I'm very good at finding alternative routes, alternative options um, with the same end result. But let's find a different way. And especially if we're layering in all of these things that we do as parents and how that affects our time, I'm hoping that that's something I can impart. And that's the mark that I'll make in this entrepreneurial world that we live in now.
Yep. Awesome. So, Juju,
Yes.
we are at wrap, but
Yes.
before we part ways in this virtual space, a couple of questions I want to ask you, and it requires one or two words. You
Sure.
ready?
Yep.
Ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So, these days in motherhood, what's your fashion sense? Are you wearing sneakers or are you wearing nice heels?
Mm, sneakers, but always with a fabulous purse.
Yeah. I love it. So, what does your tummy appreciate? So,
Ooh.
is it smoothies or ice cream?
Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Ah, it's got to be a smoothie.
Okay.
Love a good smoothie.
All right. So, in 3 years, 3 years, 3 years, mommy money goals. Where are we
Yes.
going with it? And that's not one word.
Um, Hopefully, I can convert all or some of the business into a 501(c)(3),
Okay.
because I really don't even want to charge for my services, if that sounds crazy. I'd rather get funding and be able to do workshops and events and sessions for free um, to the women who need it the most. I think
Hmm.
um, so. That's why if it's a half and half business, I will have clients who can support my services, who can um, pay the required fee structure, but then that will allow me to reach out to the most vulnerable women in our society, women who are um, displaced from homes, who maybe recent immigrants, just those who really, really are struggling to find any kind of foothold in the city right now and um, in this country. So that to me, if I can do that in 3 years, I will have felt like I've achieved something really great.
And you will. I believe that you will. So, Juju, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to share your journey in entrepreneurship. And again, reaching out to Juju on Instagram, mommy underscore money underscore goals, and
Yes.
also website mommymoneygoals.com. Please do not hesitate, to take Juju up on the consultation. One of the things
Please.
that she does have experience in is the fashion retail space. So if you are creative and that is your jam, there's other things that Juju does, but know that that is a strength of
Yes.
hers in addition to the financial aspects of growing your business, household budgeting, crediting, also doing workshops as well.
Yes.
Please do not hesitate to reach out to Juju. And when you reach out to us, say, I saw you on that show. You did phenomenal.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anita. I really appreciate this. I felt from day one that we were aligned and so connected in so many ways. So I really appreciate this. Um, and yeah,
I look forward
thank
to
you.
you coming back because your story doesn't just end here, to
Nope,
just keep us updated about some of the work that you are navigating in, and to share some updates about your business. Would love to have you back
absolutely.
on.
Oh my gosh, I would be so thankful. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Okay, you're welcome. Talk to you soon.
Yes.
Virtual hugs, kisses. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thank
Take care.
you.
So, friends, good friends, right? So, I have to tell you that, in this space of entrepreneurship, you come across some really dope and amazing beings, right? And I just wanted to share some of Juju's tips because why not, right? They were good, they were juicy. Um, Find like-minded community, right? And what does that mean? Whoever is in the same vibration, don't let your gut instinct fool you, right? Having like minded people on your journey is what Juju mentioned. I wanted to elevate that. If you're in a community, get in a community. You vote for the elected officials, talk to them about who you are and advocate for those things that are really important to you, through community boards, local school PTOs, boards. But the other thing that I wanted to highlight is you got to be confident in yourself. That was what Juju mentioned. We also talked about today business networking, AKA relationship building, right? We provided a definition that entails maintaining professional relationships that create mutually beneficial opportunities. Mutually beneficial opportunities. Don't come to the table selfish, come to the table with, especially if you've done research with that person that you are doing a virtual meeting, engagement, you know, find something that you can offer them, or if you don't know what it is immediately as you are listening to them, be able to discern and say, hey, I know someone, that I can potentially connect you with, whether it's an email exchange, text message, if most appropriate, if you have permission to share that way, do so. Share insights. And one of the things that I do love about networking is gaining information, which I will share that. You network with intention. Again, talking about and elevating your resources. Again, while I would love to do a good two-step, I don't know what the latest stances are these days, but I can tell you that being in certain spaces where I know there are certain individuals I want to meet and that there is a sharing or being prepared to share resources is the space that I'm coming from. You get to grow your business acumen, how you make money, how you achieve goals. Those things become a part of your networking with intention. You do not have to be everywhere. I can tell you that it's not, you don't have to be everywhere, but be in the spaces where you know that your client base exists and that you can connect and share resources. And there's a mindset shift, right? When it comes to networking, right? It's not just what is it in for me, right? And it doesn't come immediately. Let me also clear that up, right? The mindset is that when I meet someone, I'm going to make this, whatever it is, your goal, financial goal, that same day. We don't close deals like that, right? So there's a definite mindset shift, but it's also about really having the opportunity to connect and to create, whether it's you have a space within your business to hire a young person or hire an adult or hire someone who may be transitioning out of the justice system. If that's your flow, think about opportunities to create space and social impact within your business. But I'm also going to tell you, dun, 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 please follow up, right? I'm going to tell you, emails used to be my jam, right? I used to be able to catch people, email, you schedule it, do whatever it is you need to do, but you're capturing the attention of that person via email. We are so inundated with the activities of AI, you know, marketing, this, that sometimes it doesn't always land well in your email. So, what I want to tell you is that find when you interact and you network with someone, this is my cheat code number one, right? When you're out networking, find out, ask them, what's the best way to communicate with you, right? So if they're saying text message, then text them, but don't text them a long paragraph. Like, who wants to read that in their phone? But if they say email, follow up, right? And a lot of times it's not intentional. It's just that there are so many activities that are happening in the inbox these days. Follow up, schedule a follow up, whether it's within 24 to 48 hours, send an email if that is the way that they told you was best to communicate with them. Some folks are on LinkedIn. Do so. Send a direct message. Hey, I met you. Take a photo, click, hey, and send it to them. Hey, or post and tag. Those things do help to raise your remembrance. Memories do come up on social media. Take advantage of that, but definitely follow up in a way that best represents the person that you're looking to engage with, and be patient. All right. Be patient. This is not a microwave thing when you're dealing with building relationships. It takes time. So when you're networking with intention, follow up, find out the best approach, and continue to move forward and follow up with them. So, I got more, right? Because I'm coming with the good stuff today. So, this beneficial ownership thing, right? Had a couple of folks. I'm like, oh, well, it's changing. Oh, somebody's charging me. All these phenomenal things. Do your research, people, right? And this is what I mean by doing your research. Usually when you're dealing with government agencies, it's the .gov, not the .com, not the all this other things, right? There are, businesses that are actually capitalizing off of, this specific change, right? But I'm going to share with you, right, what the update. First of all, I'm sharing the email, which is beneficial ownership. The direct information is FinCEN, FINCEN.gov/BOI, right? So you get to read the information. Take time to read the information for yourself. But I'm also going to share a little bit of the updates because, we've been hearing on the ground that there's so many changes and blah, 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 blah. And look, as of this recording, this is updated as of March 21st, 2025. Read through it. All entities created in the United States, including those previously known as domestic reporting companies, right? Read the information, understand it, right? And their beneficial ownerships are now exempt from the requirement to report beneficial ownership information to the FinCEN. Now, what I want to also tell you is that this has been ever changing, right? This reporting, the fines, and all this other stuff. Get on their email list, friends and family, and also as things get updated so that you won't be alarmed as to what's happening. This is as of a certain date. In 6 months, it may change. So how do we remain current as business owners? Get on the email list. If you have someone on your team that navigates through doing research during your team meetings, say, hey, this is updated. We now have to be aware of what's happening. But I wanted to share this because there's been so much noise. Tap in directly to the resources. Don't just take my word, although I'm good for it, right? I do stand on my word, but I'm also going to point you directly to the agency that governs that information. So there you have it, right? It's updated, beneficial ownership, direct information, FinCEN, FINCEN.gov/BOI. There you have it, right? Friends, family, pay attention. So, and there we're back because I'm going to leave you with some good stuff. But finally, if you are interested in being featured, because we're always looking for amazing, courageous, those who may want to buy ad space, please check us out on all the social platforms. We are here at 11375. You can check us out. or call us traditionally. We do answer 718-691-8966, or you can send us an email at info@11375.com. You can book us. We would love for you to share your courageous journey as an entrepreneur. So on that note, I want to thank Juju for coming on, right? Because the stories get more and more amazing. And I have to tell you, I am a life learner and always really excited to have another courageous individual on this journey with me. So until next time, please do not hesitate to like, share, and follow us on 11375. We are on the social platforms at 11375. So long, folks. Thank you for joining. Take good care. Welcome to 11375. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am your Chief Experience Officer. At 11375, we offer strategic alignment solutions specific to you and your business goals, and also connecting everything with social impact. So if you are looking for a really amazing organization where we help you to focus your strategy and connecting it with social impact, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are on all the social platforms, and you can contact us at 11375. When I think about motherhood and the space of entrepreneurship, it is two of the most scariest things that anyone who has chosen to be a mom can do. I love being a mother. I love being able to smile, share, grow, have my CEO in the making, observe what it's like to be a business owner, to be able to use the things that are coming out of our mind and create, being in meetings, doing community work, and creating a space that we want to create for long-term wealth. Both are equally challenging. Both are equally scary, but the beauty about being in this space of duality lets me know that when I see her smile, when I see her laugh, when she challenges me to be a better person, I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.